Hello and welcome to Elseworlds as we continue our Creature Commandos recaps. My name is Jordan. With me, as always, is Chris. How are you too, Chris?
I'm doing good. The holiday week usually makes my life harder, but this is the easiest week I've had in 16 years, working in a grocery store. I'm off Christmas Eve, I'm off Christmas, I'm off Thursday. So the party just began and we're
Nice.
kicking it off with some Creature Commandos talk. So I'm about as good as you can be, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
Before we dive into the episode, I just want to shout out here they have officially renewed Creature Commandos for season 2. Um, don't know when that's going to happen, of course, just because it does take a bit for animation, but James Gunn posted today, "You wanted monsters? Well, you're getting even more. We're coming back for season 2. But don't worry, we still have plenty left this season for you. Catch new episodes of Creature Commandos every Thursday with the season 1 finale dropping January 9th exclusively on Max." Um, some people were asking him also, like, why are these not just all released at once? And I want to say thank you for not doing that. He says it affords a quality show an opportunity to be discussed and grow from week to week. Creature Commandos has gotten more popular from episode to episode because of the positive discussion around it and has cultivated an enthusiastic audience. If we had dropped all the episodes at once, who knows what would have happened? I will likely always be in the one a week camp for our shows. For people who want to binge them all at once, they can wait until the end of the season.
That's fair.
And I agree with James Gunn.
I think it's the happy medium. You're not taking binging away. You're just telling them to wait if you want to do that.
And
I
we
think that's
get the
incredibly fair.
podcast about it. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know, it feels good
yeah, and
discussing it.
yeah. I think it's the conversation part's the fun of the show too. I don't have a problem with the week to week model. I think when streaming first started, it was like, oh man, I gotta wait a week. I thought we were like getting to this new age of TV, and then everybody watched everything and had nothing to watch, and then I think uh, we've gone back to, hey, give it to me once a week. That's good. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
And it, like he said, it allows the show to grow. I mean, if you've seen after the Superman trailer, this thing was trending #1 on Max. So I mean, that's that's good,
Yeah,
you know.
I wouldn't mind with these animated shows that are two a week. But they're not giving us that many, so
Yeah, with only
yeah,
7, I would still want it
yeah,
spaced out. They gave us 2 for the first week, which is
yeah.
good.
I really like two a week though because like you watch one, you're like, I want to watch more. I realized I never finished Harley Quinn season 4, so after
Mm.
I rewatched the saddest Creatures Commandos episode ever, I watched a little Harley Quinn because I was like, I'm still going on this animation thing. This is good. So yeah, it whets the appetite though. It really does.
Yeah, I probably have to catch up on Harley Quinn. I think I dropped it after season 2, so I think I
Okay.
have a bit to catch up on. Um, okay, we're going to be talking episode 4 of Creature Commandos Chasing Squirrels, which was directed by Sam Liu, written by James Gunn, and premiered December 19th, 2024 on Max. Um, I'm going to try my best to get through this without crying.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been thinking of this all weekend and crying. I tried to explain to my wife how sad it was, and I ended up becoming a mess. I rewatched it today and was probably even more of a mess than I was the first time. This episode, really hit. And really, I think it was it's the last 5 minutes when you
Yeah.
see the flashback with Weasel. And I remember thinking, I paused it with like 6 minutes left. And I was like, man, people said this one's really sad. And like, I haven't gotten to that yet. Um, will it make me be really sad? And the answer is yes, it would, in just 5 minutes, where I become a blubbering mess, sobbing, fully on sobbing, not being able to control because of Weasel, which I never would have thought when I watched the Suicide Squad.
I I think that we're just gonna kind of jump into the final 5 minutes, I think, and then get to the rest of the episode. I think that's the way we're gonna have to do it after setting it up like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I think the saddest thing about this is watching Weasel not be able to verbalize, not be able to communicate, and he's trying to be the hero saving these kids. And when the logs fall on her and the fire falls on the little girl, and Weasel is trying so hard to get there, and he's just getting shot and dragged, and it's so sad because these adults are reacting to him carrying the child, but they don't seem to care that there are children in there to save.
Well, I
And,
think at that point she's the only one to save, right?
yeah, and it all stems from a hillbilly with a shotgun
Mm-hmm.
deciding he was going to be a hero, um, facing something he did not understand.
Which, to be honest, I don't really blame him. It is tough, but like when you watch what he sees the kids run away from Weasel into the school.
Yeah, no,
He
he
sees
sees.
like Weasel pop the ball and be on top of the kid. So like I understand what he's trying to do, but you know,
So here's the thing: the fact that we can see his perspective doesn't make it less wrong, and but it was crafted in a way where it was a little more fair to him than what but it was so sad because the biggest, I think Weasel is kind of a stand-in for people who are nonverbal and people who cannot communicate themselves. They're blocked off from communication, but they feel, and they can have friends, and there's so many disabilities, so many uh, people with autism who are nonverbal, and it got to me because the ability to not having the ability to communicate is so painful. And
I think
especially when he reached out and found this great friendship.
I think he, is a stand-in for a lot of people, because he could stand in for people. He also stands in for animals who can't verbalize what they're going through. He is a stand-in for anybody that looks different and is judged because of how he looks, right?
Yeah,
The reason that guy, if he was a dog, let's say a poodle, not like a bully breed that people already judge, but let's say a poodle, that guy is not calling the
yeah.
police, right? It's because he looks like a big weasel. That, but all he's looking for is like you said, a connection, and this all happens apparently on one day, right? Like they lure him out of the bushes and they're playing with him, and then it goes into, I think they're on like Thanksgiving break or something, and the doors open and they get into the school, and I just
Why
got to
is that?
give kudos here to Sean Gunn too,
Yeah,
because his like final scream as Weasel getting pulled
oh,
away,
yeah,
so touching.
yeah. You can feel the pain, and I feel like everyone involved with the production understands the pain of the story. It's really. I couldn't understand why there was a bottle of whiskey in the teacher's desk. I'm like, that's
Mhm.
automatic fired. But
I'm
I
sure
was
there's
like,
teachers that have that though.
uh, I hope not. But you're not wrong, probably. Um, but I man, it was hard to see. Uh, I I think I think the thing is that really like jerked me, like really got me going, was the girl's one of her last memories as living is hugging and embracing Weasel, and is like he's trying to save her, and and it shows you how hate is kind of spewed in the dumbest way because apparently he killed 27 children. Well, he tried to save children, and
Yeah, I want to know how the 27 rumor got started because he was
it was
only charged with 8 and he didn't kill any of them, by the way. But like,
yeah, it was probably
just a rumor that spreads in the prison that nobody
yeah,
checks, that goes
well,
around.
and it was probably the guy with the shotgun is probably like, I wasn't wrong. He killed 27 children. You know,
Yeah.
I hate to be too hard on the guy with the shotgun, but um, I have a hard time with how this world treats things they don't understand with anger, violence, and hostility. And I think this episode kind of spoke to that. So there's a lot to talk about in this episode, but it's easily the saddest thing it might be the saddest thing I've seen in DC. Period.
I think this is the saddest thing I've probably seen on TV.
Like,
I mean,
like Bambi, eat your heart out. This is worse.
this is the most I can remember crying over anything, honestly, on a TV show or a movie. Like, I know people try to say like the rocket stuff in Guardians 3, but like
Rocket did
this
get to
hit
me.
me. This hit me way more. I don't know if it's
Rocket got to
because
me, but
I
it's
don't know
more
if it's
Lila and Chiefs. That
yeah. But I think like with that stuff, it did hit me. But you're like, okay, Rocket's fine.
yeah.
He can verbalize what happened to him, but like, one of the moments that really hit me the hardest is when, the bride just says he's probably just chasing squirrels in his dream, because
And that's
it's
the whole
like,
point.
yeah, like
Yeah.
obviously she sees him as like a creature like this as well. And hey, that's what we say about dogs, right? Like, oh, I wonder what they dream about. Oh, probably just chasing squirrels. But like he is reliving
And she's
probably
undead.
the worst day in his life,
And
as
so,
he's
so
trying to save this girl.
she's stereotyping him, and she's an undead zombie. Um, she's brought back from pieces of other humans. And she's judging him. It shows you how powerful stereotypes are, and how judgmental, and how easy it is to be judgmental. We never thought I thought we talked about it. There was hints that there was another story here with Weasel.
Yeah, I've been saying since week 1 he never killed
Yeah,
the kids. So
and, and I didn't know it was like this, man. And the shot with the fire in his eyes when he's dragging the kid, that's
yeah.
like A+ production. Like that is that is some great animation. Oh, I there's a lot to talk about in this episode. But that it threw me.
Yeah, I mean, it is just really well done. Um uh that's all I can really say about that last
Yeah,
5 minutes. I almost didn't want to rewatch it because I knew the mess I'd become, but I was thinking, hey, maybe if I rewatch it, I won't be a mess when we podcast about it.
it was better the second time because I knew it was coming, and
Hmm.
it was a little less raw.
It was worse for me the second time because I did know it was coming. So the whole time I'm like anxious about it. Plus, like I said offline about what I was waiting to hear about today. So it was
I
a
get
lot on my
that.
mind. A lot on
Yeah,
my mind while this was going on. But I guess we'll move on from that. But look, this shot Weasel up to my favorites, and I'm hoping he gets some justice or a real heroic moment because I think that's one thing that worked so well on me. The first time I'm watching it, obviously, I think I know the girl is going to die, but I was literally shouting at my TV, like, get up and get her out of there. And,
okay.
unfortunately, she doesn't, right? But you're like rooting for him. And I hope we get that again in this show.
Yeah, multi-perspective storytelling though is really well done in this show. Very much so.
All right, let's talk about the other side of stuff. Well, also, I wanted to point out his attorney shows up. Her name is Elizabeth Bates. She is a DC Comics character. James Gunn is really good at this. Her name is Betty Bates, and she was a DC comic character, or back when it was called Quality Comics. I guess they absorbed that company at some point. She was one of the toughest lawyers in New York City in the 1940s. So she's a 1940s character that gets a little bit of a little scene here, and it's voiced by Linda Cardellini as well. But she calls him John because of John Doe. But also, Weasel's name in the comics from before the New 52, when he was a guy that was in like a Weasel suit, was John. I forget what his last name was. It wasn't Doe. But I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons why they reference him as John a few times. Because she could have just called him Weasel. But, giving him an actual person name like John Doe, I thought was, she is the only one that seemingly believes that he did not do that. And I really wonder how she got, if she's like, how if you don't have a lawyer, they'll be appointing one for you. If that's like a state appointed lawyer, or if there's somebody in Weasel's life that's paying for the lawyer. I'm really curious about that because she had pictures of all the kids. Yeah.
I wonder if it could be maybe one of the parents who didn't buy it, that he was the one who killed him, or something like that.
Could be. Okay, so we have she shows up looking for her client, and we see John Economos from Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad.
That was great.
He's got his like broken leg from Peacemaker. And she says, "What happened to your leg?" He says, "I was fighting off an alien invasion." She doesn't believe this. And the Creature Commandos arrive. He tries to say that Weasel is sick, but she sees Weasel and everybody getting off of the plane, and she goes out there and grabs Weasel. During this time, though, we have Flag, who says to the bride, like, "Hey, I hope next time, you will be a part of this team again if we need you." She's like, "Hey, I didn't know I had a choice." But during this, we have Frankenstein watching from the helicopter, and he goes a little overboard here, where he thinks the person is one of the military guys in the plane is, or the helicopter is, feeling judging him for not being able to grow facial hair. So he kills that guy and kills the driver of the helicopter, and writes down Rick Flag's name before he leaves.
There's a lot of projection when it comes to Frankenstein, and I think that Frankenstein needs to chill a little bit. He's 0 to 60 like that.
Very similar to the second episode when he, told Victor Frankenstein, people may say this, and he was like, "Nobody would say that." He said, "I would. I'm people. Would you? Are you? Like, he is very defensive that people may not take him as being a real person." Which again, I feel like is a common theme for some of these creatures that we're seeing in this show. But he goes a little overboard here. We get the Circe, I guess, interrogation scene where they say that Circe is clairvoyant. She can see the future. She gets shown, Waller is going to get shown the vision. Flag is like not thinking any of this is real, by the way, and that maybe she can just mess with their minds. But Waller sees the vision, and we see like bombs exploding. We see heroes dead. The princess is leading them. She's got scars on her face, and we got her working with Gorilla Grodd. Pretty cool. We get Gorilla Grodd.
I think in the group chat you sent the "Make America Grodd" again from
Yeah, the
Legend.
video from Legend.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I was like, anytime I get Gorilla Grodd, I'm a happy person. Like I'm just okay, take my money. This is what I want. But I think this was a really awesome way to do the vision. I also like that Waller was like clairvoyant. Which one is that? And I think that was kind of in character. But I yeah, I liked the vision, man. I thought it was really trippy. I thought it was really scary. There's definitely stakes here, and you know you have a conflict now, which between Rick Flag and Frankenstein and the Commandos. That's great storytelling. I'm here. I'm here for it. We
So
already know what we're doing when we come into the next episode.
I have a theory about this.
Okay.
So my theory here is, let me see, I have it written down. Let me just, okay. What if, and this plays in with my other theory here. So I think Cersei is playing Waller in the crew. And she's actually the threat with Grodd. And they're working with Clayface, who is posing as the princess. Not yet, but she's posing as the princess. That's why Cersei wanted to kill her. Was that way she can install Clayface as the imposter princess. So Cersei and Grodd and the princess can take over the world. And as they said, she can't lie in the vision. Well, what if it's not a lie because that's her plan, right? So that's kind of my thought here, because the theory that I see going around too is that Clayface is the scholar, the professor that comes in and is a historian on Themyscira. So let's say they are working together. That scholar is the one that gives Cersei credibility with her vision and what Waller sees, and allows Waller to really say, let's go kill the princess, what might be exactly what Cersei wants the whole time. So that's kind of my theory I'm operating on here. I think there's a trailer. I think there's a trailer at some point where Waller says, like, she played us. I don't know if she's talking about Cersei or somebody else, but maybe she wanted to get caught. That would also explain why, for people that were a little upset about the power levels in episode 3, that's where I could see this. That's where I could see this going. And then that would, of course, cause the Commandos and Rick and Frankenstein to then team up together again, instead of being on opposing sides the rest of the way.
Interesting. I mean, I can see all of that. I kind of just want to see how it goes. But yeah, I like that. I like though that we know what we're jumping into. And I think the Frankenstein of it all was just hilarious. I thought his pop culture references, like Titanic. Have you seen that movie? Very few people have. I really liked his interpretation of the diner scene in When Harry Met Sally. And I loved Rick Flag's reaction to it. And it was, because it was kind of like what I would have said, like, I don't think that's what's going on there. But yeah, I like the Frankenstein of it all, so I'm excited.
Not many have seen Titanic. I have not seen Titanic, actually. So I am one of those people, Frankenstein.
To be fair, I am one of those people as well. But it's before, we have some of these movies coming out. It was the big one.
Yeah. I also like when Frankenstein calls him, "You filthy piece of shit." Thought that was a great line.
You're everybody's type.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Thank you. Can I get down now?
The princess? Oh, you call her the princess? Is that your pet name for her? Like, he's Frankenstein's having some, an existential crisis with
I
that.
also think it's interesting that he thinks the bride is everybody's type.
Yes, yeah. Well, he only knew him and Victor for a while, and she was both of their type. So
Yeah. I guess that's what you call a tainted sample.
Yeah. Sample size. And it's a small sample size as well. Uh okay, we also get the bride sticks up for Nina, right? She actually comes in and if it's supposed to be what Congarilla, they are close to dead. Um they leave it open though. Phosphorus is like, he's missing his jaw and maybe dead. So hey, they might save him, but Economos just kind of steps over him and is like, all right, guys, you need to get back on the plane to Pokolistan, and they're gonna take out the princess. But we get this very interesting exchange when they're on the plane before we get Weasel's flashback as well, where Nina and her are kind of like, hey, what? Well, Nina's like, why'd you help me? And she's like, well, I owed you because I almost got you killed. And then she mentions Nina makes light of this by saying, well, you almost got me killed, and that you just fed me, so it's not really, we're not even yet.
Disgusting food.
Yes. But we get this moment where they're
she didn't
asking
get her
if
food
they've
back.
What?
She didn't get her food back. Weasel's eating her food on the floor.
Well, she did get some food. Phosphorus takes the food tray from the bat lady and hands it to Nina.
So then you're just selecting who you're mean to.
Yep.
It's high school all over.
Maybe she shouldn't have been friends with the gorilla.
I guess.
But the
we've got a cool kids table and
in prison.
Yeah.
At Task Force M. They're having this nice exchange on the plane then where Nina mentions like, oh, have you killed anybody? And they're going back and forth with that because Nina doesn't think she'll be able to. And they know that they have to go kill the princess, but they don't know why, right? Waller is not telling them why. They said that's need to know, and you don't need to know.
I feel like you need to know if you have to kill somebody.
Yeah, well, I get. You know what though? Rick will probably fill them in when they meet up. I'm assuming Rick and Frankenstein are going to be very close behind because next week is actually Frankenstein's episode.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I kind of see this happening is if episode 5 is Frankenstein's, I would assume Phosphorus is episode 6. And I would assume Nina is last because of them saying like how Nina is like the one you have to get to if you're going to win over the Creature Commandos. So I feel like that would be a good like last episode POV. But that's what I see. So next week's is called the Iron Pot. And then I don't know what this is. Episode 6 got a title now. It's called Prietel Skelet. Oh, yeah, skeletons. That's got to be Phosphorus.
You would think.
Yeah, that's got to be Phosphorus. And then episode 7, if this is to be believed, is called A Very Funny Monster. Which might be, I would think that is about Nina.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing when
I feel like Nina is like, my heart hurts for her because she doesn't seem like she belongs there, other than the fact that she needs a tank in her head.
Yeah, she is. I would say if we're kind of classifying some of these Creature Commandos as like people that deserve to be there, like Weasel and her are towards the more heroic side, I think. I've heard James Gunn say Phosphorus is not a good dude, so I'm assuming he would tilt towards the more villainous side, along with like Frankenstein. And I think you would have people like Bride, GI Robot in the middle, right? Is kind of what I would assume how that scale goes. But yeah, looking forward to it. I'm glad to get hopefully Frankenstein on the team. We know he joins the team. He's in the credits. My last theory as well here, this could go hand in hand with the theory I shared before. But because the princess looks so much like that little girl that Weasel couldn't save.
Oh, no.
I'm wondering if he will die or really like save her. Like if we go in hand that like, let's say Cersei's plan is to take over and instill Clayface as the princess, maybe he goes and saves her. Maybe that's why he saved her so well in the last episode as well. He was, seeing flashbacks.
Yeah, I didn't put that together until you said it, and then it was like, oh no, yeah.
So he might get his heroic moment again in saving the princess.
I really liked when he's talking to or meeting the lawyer, and he's staring at the picture, and you have the memory, and his tears start to kind of, his eyes start to do like the little thing, and he just sees the picture. I thought that was really good.
But it could also be a sign that like he remembers her by she gave him the snack to eat. So, it could have been a little memory there for Weasel.
He gets hungry because she has granola bars.
Yeah.
Or whatever that was.
It was a Snickers bar, according to the script, from what I see.
It didn't look like Snickers to me.
Well, yeah, it was probably just
it kind of looked like a chewy granola bar, like one of those.
I did not
ones.
think it looked granola bar. I thought it was a chocolate candy bar. That's what I said.
I thought it was a chewy granola bar, but like the dipped ones. We'll see.
All right, season 2, like we said, is coming as well. I'm wondering if by the end of the show we'll kind of have a better idea, I think, on who survives, and then I would assume new creatures are going to be added into the Commandos for season 2. But yeah, really looking forward to next week with Frankenstein, his flashbacks. I'm wondering if we get a little bit more information on why he killed Victor. They kind of re-show that scene in the trailer. So I'm wondering if he'll get a little bit more sympathetic light in that, or if he's, still going to be how we've seen him portrayed so far. But yeah, so really looking forward to the rest of the show. We're, more than halfway through. We got 3 episodes left. Can't wait. Anything else?
I wish we had more than 7 episodes. 7 seems a bit light. Like, I feel like 8 has become standard, and for whatever reason, 7 just feels really light.
I assume he just wrote this to like
completion.
Yeah, and then it ended at 7, and he was like, "Yeah, that's good." So I wonder if maybe on another season he might do the same, and we get less or more, or if it's just like it's going to be always like 7 members of the team where they can kind of fill in.
It's a good formula. One of the things that good shows do is they have a format that works for them. Like Arrow always went to the flashbacks. And you remember when they stopped having the flashbacks and went to the flash forwards, like nothing worked in the show. Like when you have an identity as a show, it goes a long way.
All right. Well, if you want to reach us at elseworldsdcfan on all of our social media, our last episode, 102, which was the Superman trailer discussion, has been our highest listened to episode. So hopefully you're sticking around. You're listening to our Creature Commandos recaps as we continue talking about the new DC universe. In early next year, after Creature Commandos are done, we'll do some catch up on our Smallville discussions. We're going to talk some Absolute Superman. We're going to talk some All-Star Superman. We're going to talk a bunch of Superman going into 2025 as we build up to James Gunn's Superman film. And then Peacemaker Season 2, which will also be dropping next year, probably in the back half of the year. But thank you all for watching and listening. We'll catch you next time when we talk episode 5 of Creature Commandos.